If you've ever wondered what priests do on their day off, well, this priest yesterday went to go with this brother to the Winneshiek County sale barn to sell some cattle. Not a typical day off, but what was interesting is my brother was pointing out who the people were who were buying the cattle, and they were so subtle when they were buying. It might be nothing more than a pinky move. Or one guy just had a notebook like this and went like this. If you shook his hand, he was bidding. It's interesting how subtle they were in their prayer. And I think sometimes when we pray, we can be just as subtle. We don't want to make a big show. We don't want to draw any attention to ourselves, which isn't all bad. But sometimes we can go through our rote prayer and we forget to pray from the heart. And we see that in our first reading today with the beautiful story about Hannah, this mother this woman who is pouring out her heart to God. And so much so that the prophet, or the priest Eli, who's there in the temple, who should know something about prayer, looks at her and thinks, she's definitely drunk. Here's this person who should be an expert on prayer, misjudging what Hannah is doing. Hannah, who is really praying, knows how to pray perhaps even better than the priest Eli. She is pouring out her heart in prayer to God. And as we hear in the end of the story, she is blessed with the son, Samuel, a great prophet Samuel, who will then discover the great king of Israel, King David. But I think this reading reminds us to, when we go to pray, to not be afraid to pour out our heart, what's really going on in our heart. I found out recently that St. Francis, when he would go to pray with his companions, when they would go out to the mountains or out into the wilderness, what St. Francis would do is they would spread out, and if Francis would yell, and if you could hear Francis, he would go away a little bit farther. He wanted that freedom to pray however he felt moved in the moment, much like that prayer of the heart that Hannah has in our first reading today. So as you go to pray today, may you have that same prayer that Anna does, to pray truly from the heart to the God who always hears us.